Hello. So today I wanted to bring you a review of CODA. Now, this film surprised me because I was hesitant to watch it because usually when I see that it's Oscar nominated, I assume I won't like it because they tend to pick movies that are on the more boring side. So I don't even pay attention to it if it says Oscar nominated. But I was working on a blog that I thought this film would tie in really well with. So I sort of reluctantly finally gave it a watch. And to my surprise, I quite enjoyed it. So, CODA. First of all, it's an acronym for child of a deaf parent. Child of a deaf adult. And this movie, it's an Apple original film that stars Marlee Matlin, Emilia Jones, Troy Cotter, and Daniel Durrant. These are some unfamiliar names to me, so with the exception of obviously Marlee Matlin. In this film, Emilia Jones plays Rose Rossi, who is a high school senior, and she's a shy and unpopular student who is uncomfortable with her family's dependence on her, but also unsure of the direction she wants to take in her life when an attentive teacher enlightens her to the possibilities that her singing talent could bring. Now, the family, they are lobster fishermen and women, and that's how they provide for themselves. And Rose is the only hearing person in her family. So a lot of responsibility is put on her, and she is trying to balance that while dealing with the typical teenage life challenges. So as far as the performances, you have Marlee Matlin, who I know her from the infamous Seinfeld lip reader episode, okay? But obviously she has other credits. She's an accomplished, talented actress. And she plays the mom. And she comes across at first as self-centered, but the direction of Sian Heder provides her character to explain herself, and by the end of the film you understand her position and why she's hesitant to see her daughter go away to school. And yeah, I thought her performance was stellar, and she was so great. And I love the scenes between her and Rose, but also her and her husband, played by Troy Kotsur, whom I know nothing about as an actor. You know, I haven't seen anything. I don't think I've seen anything that he has been in until this point, but he was quite great in his role as well. And he plays the dad, Frank Rossi, and he provided comedic relief, I would say, which wasn't needed. It wasn't, even though this movie delves into some poignant social commentary, still it never felt draining. You know, sometimes when the movie, you know, touches on certain subjects, it can just like drain you emotionally. So I never felt that way watching this movie, but still, Troy, his character, Frank Rossi, he was so funny, and he played a typical dad who happens to be deaf, but you don't see that too often. Yeah, I would say you don't see that often in films, but it was just nice to see him just be a dad, you know. I mean, he's a dad who tells corny dad jokes and just knows how to get a laugh out of his kids and his wife when the mood needs it. So then you have Daniel. Daniel Durrant is the son, and he's the cute hot brother, you know. And so Rose's best friend, she sort of takes to him, but yeah, there's that. And then the performance that really stood out to me was, oh wait, what is his name? Let me look through my notes here. Eugenio Derbez. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Now, I really love him. I've seen him in a number of movies. I've seen him in comedies and dramatic roles. He does everything, and he is one of those actors who, no matter what I see him in, I just think that's him. You know, he's one of those actors who he just knows how to unpretentiously play a role and just have you buy into it without any objection. You know, you just go with it. Whatever the character is, or at least that's how I see it with him. I just love him as an actor. He's really great. And so he played the teacher, the music teacher in this story, and he is the one who encourages Rose to. But first of all, Rose is, I would say, a bit insecure. She's struggling with self-confidence, which is typical for, you know, any teenager. So, and so what is his character's name? Okay, Bernardo Villalobos? Villalobos? We'll go with that. Okay, maybe that's why I didn't take note of the teacher's name, because I probably knew I would stutter on that pronunciation. So anyway, he plays the music teacher, and you know what? I'm just going to refer to him as Bernardo. I can get that. So, okay. Bernardo, he encourages her to audition for this musical scholarship at a prestigious college. And she, being the sheltered and obedient child that she is, she just never even thought of something like this, you know? And it's quite beautiful to see her grow and gain independence, and the discussions she has with her parents about possibly going away to school. And that is such a powerful moment for a young girl, but she does it and she handles it well. And of course, the parents at first are not, you know, too pleased about it, because it really will impact their daily lives, but also she's part of how they make a living. So it would affect that as well, you know. But they come around, and there's this one moment in the movie that just stands out to me. There's one scene in this movie. Rose is performing a duet with one of her classmates. They're performing, she's singing and he's playing guitar and singing. Then all of a sudden, I noticed the movie goes quiet. So I was multitasking. I was sitting on the couch watching the movie, but I was also working on something on my laptop. And so I know, like, when the movie would go quiet, that would let me know that the deaf characters had dialogue, because they would put the captions on the screen. And so I knew to be alert of that so I can look up at the screen and see what's happening. And so all of a sudden in the scene, it went quiet. They were playing their music and singing. So, I just figured, okay, I don't need to pay too much attention to this because they're just singing a song. And then it went quiet. And so I looked up and I'm like, well, I wonder what they're doing here, because there was no captions. And so at first I was confused, like, what is this? But then I saw the two parents in the audience, Frank and Jackie. Did I even say her name? Is it Jackie? Oh gosh, what is her name in the movie? Yeah, it is Jackie. Okay. So the parents, Frank and Jackie, are sitting in the audience and they are communicating with each other via sign language. And they are sort of observing the audience and how they are taking in their daughter's performance. And so it was so beautiful to see, because I think Sian Heder, what she was doing in that scene is showing us, the viewers, how deaf people experience musical performances, because they're not hearing any music. So she took away the music in the scene, and you just saw the two, well, you saw the entire audience reacting and responding, but you didn't hear any audio and there was no captions. So you kind of experienced it similar to how deaf people would experience that musical performance. They would just have to go off of, the body language and read lips, I guess, and stuff like that. So it was just beautiful when I finally caught on to what was happening. I really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was just so beautiful to see that. And to see the pride they had when they noticed how people were reacting to their daughters singing, even though they themselves can't hear her singing. I also appreciated the music. They played a lot of Motown, and the students were learning Motown music and I would say 70s R&B. I'm thinking 60s or 70s R&B is what the music teacher, Bernardo, was teaching the students. And I really liked that. And the musical score, I just want to give credit. It was executive produced by Marius DeVries. Hopefully that's right. But yeah, so anyway, they were learning Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, which was interesting. But I guess I can't judge because I was listening to Aaliyah in music class. I do remember that. Although I wouldn't say her lyrics were all that risque. So I don't know. But Let's Get It On is definitely an interesting choice to have the students learn in high school. But hey, whatever, okay? So yeah, and then the ending, it's a predictable ending, I will say. It's what you would expect from a film like this, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I loved how the family came together and released her. That's what I'll say. They released her gracefully. And I really like to see that. Now, on a side note, I did become curious about the actors because they were playing deaf characters. So I wanted to know. I knew, obviously, Marlee Matlin is deaf, but I wasn't familiar with the other actors. I'm sorry, I'm looking out my window. So, yes, I did some research to find out if the other actors were deaf as well. And I came across a USA Today article about how actress Marlee Matlin fought to get deaf actors to play the deaf characters in this film. So Troy Kotsur and Daniel Durrant, they are deaf actors. And yeah, I wasn't familiar with, Marlee Matlin used the term sign language improv, which I wasn't familiar with until I read that article, but I guess it makes sense, you know. But Troy Kotsur definitely comes across like someone who has some experience with improv. He definitely was funny, and I just really enjoyed his scenes, you know. And then I read that Emilia Jones, she studied sign language for some months. I forgot, 6 or 9 months to, you know, really build and shape that character. But it actually rings true to the family dynamic. There's the one hearing person and then the 3 deaf people in the family. And then that's actually what was replicated by the actors. So yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And I will leave a link to that article if you're interested in reading that. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this film. It was a pleasant surprise. The Oscars actually nominated something I would actually watch. So that's great every now and then when they do that, you know? Not that they're thinking about me, right? But, you know, it would be nice if they nominated stuff that most people have seen. I'll take I out of that and just say most people, okay? Because it's not just me who don't see those films. It's most people haven't seen those Academy Award nominated and winning films. So anyway, yes, this movie is available on Apple. It's an Apple original. And I'm not sure, did I say it was written and directed by Sian Heder, and she was inspired one day. I think I read she was inspired by a family she met when she was working at a hotel or something like that. I don't know much about the story. I didn't really read the story, but it was inspired by an observation in her real life. I'll say that. So yes, let me just check my notes here. I think that's all I wanted to say about this. But yeah, I think it's an exceptional and unique story. And it just reminded me to always stay inspired, because you never know what your observations might produce. And this film that Sian Heder came up with, this idea, this story, is so special and unique. And I really enjoyed it. I also will say it reminded me of Lady Bird, which was another Oscar winner or nominated film, but it reminded me of that. So if you watched that and liked that, I would encourage you to give this a watch. I think you will enjoy it. It also is 2 hours long, but still, I really enjoyed it. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts. Anyway, thank you for watching. And let me know what you think about it if you have already seen it, or let me know if I persuaded you to give it a watch. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.